What's going on, guys? Welcome in another edition of MLB Picks and Props Around the Diamond, powered by FTN Bets, as well as GamePlus Network, live on our FTN Network YouTube page. Those hanging out with us live, smash the like button. You have any questions, certainly can leave them there, and Dream and myself will get to them throughout the show. MLBDream on Twitter, at Chris Meaney on the Twitter machine as well. We are winding down here. The MLB season is quickly coming to an end. We basically have everybody locked in to a playoff spot. Some teams that have clinched recently, and we still don't know all of the matchups as of yet. This show is like I said, winding down on GamePlus Network, but still lots of content over at ftnbets.com. Dream and myself, along with a few others, will be giving MLB picks throughout the entire playoffs. We may have like a couple pop-up videos, so make sure you're subscribed to our FTN Network YouTube page. And because Dream, like come playoff time, man, bright lights of October, I don't want to say that the props get easier, but like at this time of the season, we're wondering about pitch counts and things like that. But man, like come playoff time, we really will see longer leashes. I think for certain starters, we get some craziness from certain managers of taking guys out earlier, maybe go to bullpens a little bit earlier. But I feel like I've just, for all sports, man, I really just love individual MLB props when it comes to playoffs. And I think, baseball's no different.
No, for sure. And you nailed it. It's definitely team dependent. Like, yes. We're not going to expect the Rays to let their guys start going 7-8 innings. Maybe a little bit longer leash for guys like McClanahan or guys, that they've been watching their innings limit for this season. But yeah, it's a little less research and kind of, I don't want to say on autopilot, but we know the kind of spots we're looking for and the teams we want to go after and which pitchers we want to back.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. So check us out at ftnbets.com. And of course, if you are just stumbling across this show, we really missed you over the last couple of months. But as I mentioned, we'll be giving picks. And if you have that FTN betting package, you get all the picks from everybody across all sports. And as we turn the calendar into October, we will see NHL, NBA, college basketball, absolutely everything will be happening during the month of October. So no real reason to hang out with us and to hopefully win a little bit of cash across all these sports. We got Daily Handle in the house. What's going on, Means and Dream. Right away, an O's question for you off the hop here. Baltimore is playing. Are they playing a little bit earlier? No, they're not. They're playing the Red Sox in Boston. We got Kremer and Hill and plus money for Boston. Dream's always looking for a plus money play. We can now, since he's hanging out with us live, did you have any interest in a potential Baltimore Orioles money line play here today?
I was actually on them last night with Kyle Bradish, and both him and Walker were gone by the third inning, I want to say. I don't think I think one run was scored after the fifth, and we had a final of 13-9 here. So I do lean over. I do lean Orioles. I am a little weary. I guess Dean Kramer pitched a career high or 9 innings last start. I don't know if he had the complete game shutout, but it was a complete game. And honestly, I think that might have been part of the reason why Bradish struggled last night. I mean, a lot of these guys are hitting their, not innings limit, but their max innings that they pitched throughout their career. So that has me a little weary to back the Orioles on the money line, but I am going to look into their team total, maybe full game over. But I do lean Orioles and over today.
Yeah, I like the over too between these two teams. I feel like it's hit more times than not, right? Baltimore's been scrappy offensively; they've been bringing it, and so the Red Sox still Rich Hill. We're not buying into Rich Hill here today, and we don't like the Red Sox bullpen. Your O's are still hanging around, right? They're not officially eliminated from a wild card spot, right? They're not. They're only. They're 3.5.
They're 3.5 behind the Mariners. I feel like every time I kind of write them off, they come and they win their next 3 or 4 games, and they're right back, in the hunt. It's a little, I don't want to say it's frustrating because, nobody expected them to be here. I certainly didn't. The Mariners have been, I think, lost 5 of their last 10, and they're certainly struggling. J-Rod's on the IL. So this would have been a perfect opportunity for the O's to kind of pick up some games and, cut that deficit. Tough loss last night and just a wacky game at Fenway. So they're still in it. They almost got to run the table at this point, though.
Yeah, I would say they do. And for Seattle, you mentioned, they're 3-7 in their last 10. They've lost 2 straight games without their guy, Julio here. And that's where we'll start. I'm going to lead off with a George Kirby strikeout prop at 5.5. sitting here at plus 120, plus 100 in some spots. Use our prop shop parlay calculator, get the best possible odds, but I'm seeing plus money across the board. In fact, actually now seeing plus 118. So we're starting to lose a little bit of the value. Before when we gave this pick, it was plus 120 at Unibet. Bet Rivers is plus 117 as well. He's had a pretty solid season. We had some talks before we came on about maybe a pitch count, as he's just a rookie in his first season here in the bigs. 120 innings. He's got a really nice strikeout to walk ratio, 124 to 18. That's a 9.3 K per nine and a 1.35 walks per nine. So I love that, especially from a young arm. He's not dealing with extra pitches because he can't find the strike zone. A 3.30 ERA and a 3.29 xFIP. So solid numbers. 3 starts against Texas, 4 earned runs in 16 2/3. And he only has 12 strikeouts over that span. But there's a couple reasons why I like this play. For one, I do like the fact that he's at home. He's got a slightly better ERA at home, 3.08 ERA at home, 68 strikeouts in 61 1/3 innings in Seattle. So more strikeouts than innings at home, which is not the case on the road for him. And it really is about the spot against Texas. If you're in a Robbie Ray yesterday, you were able to get that one. Even though they got some runs and they won the game, you're still able to get that strikeout prop. Texas, 23.8 strikeout percentage is number 7 in baseball, 26% over the last 30 days. So a little bit higher. That's top 4 in baseball. They have a league high swinging strike percentage at 13%. A little bit higher over the last 30 days as well, 13.3%. And then against righties, a 24.2% strikeout rate is top 5 in baseball. And just overall against righties, WOBA, OPS, WRC+, ISO, all these statistics that I care about, bottom 10 overall. So this Texas team, I know they had high aspirations heading into the season. They spent a lot of money, but overall they went through a stretch where they were okay. The last 2 months has been one of the worst teams in all of baseball. So I am in on Kirby, and I think you like that play as well, correct?
We do. I mean, we just talked about me not expecting the Orioles to be in this position. I think most people expected the Rangers to be in this spot. I mean, you probably should have, even though they spent a ton of money in the offseason. But yeah, no, I'm with you on this. I bet over 5.5 at plus 120. Kirby, I was on him his last start against Oakland as well. He only went less than 3 innings, only struck out 1, but he had a bunch of 2-strike counts, and he just couldn't put guys away. So I really like this spot. He's increased his strikeout percentage as well in the second half. I believe it's closer to 25%. It's actually 27.4%. We're only looking at about 23% in the first half. So I'm with you there with Kirby at plus 120.
They're going to need him. You're going to be like bittersweet watching this. Like, get the 6 strikeouts, but also lose the game. Also lose the game, Seattle, right?
So pretty much doing the same thing. Doing the same thing last night, watching Ray and rooting on that strikeout prop. But yeah, the Orioles got to take care of business in Fenway first, and that'll make that game a little sweatier.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what do you got for us? What's on your card?
All right, this is actually a market I've kind of been trying to look into the past couple of months. I've only made a couple plays over the season here, but I bet Aaron Nola over 18.5 strikeouts at plus 120. Or sorry, over 18.5 outs at plus 120.
So maybe 19 strikeouts. Let's go.
Yeah, we'll sprinkle that as well. Maybe plus 2,200 or something. I do like the strikeout prop as well, but I think this might be a little safer. We just need him to go, 6 1/3 here to cash. He should be good for 100 innings. He's averaged the 12th most pitches per game in baseball. And with the Phillies only up 1.5 games on the Brewers in the wild card race, we should expect them, they need him to kind of pitch pretty deep into this game. He's been a workhorse for Philadelphia this year. This is the most innings Nola has pitched since 2019 at 192, and it actually ranks 4th most in baseball. He's also quietly having one of the best years of his career. He has the lowest FIP and Sierra of his career. He has a 2.33 FIP post All-Star break, which ranks 3rd best in baseball, and his 2.87 Sierra is 7th best in that time. So as long as he's efficient here and doesn't strike out 10 or 11 guys through 5 innings, I have no problem with him. He should be able to pitch about 7 innings. We saw Wheeler go 6 innings last night, about 60 pitches. He's still on a pitch count. But, this Cubs offense is really struggling. Since August, they have the 7th worst WRC plus in baseball. And since September, it's actually the 4th worst. And they scored the 2nd fewest runs. Only your Angels have scored fewer against righties this year, Meaney, or since September. So Nola's also his earned run prop is at 1.5, juice to like minus 150 or minus 160 to the under. So not only does the market expect him to deal tonight, most projections have him pitching really well as well. So I have him going closer to 7 innings, and I couldn't pass at this at plus money with the pitcher's ump, cold weather, and Wrigley. This should get there for us.
Love it too. I've seen the wind blow in, 10 miles into right into second there. So yeah, I love this call a lot, man. Nola, you're right. Nobody's really talking about Aaron Nola. I guess they're just sick of Aaron Nola. Like, you kind of know what you're going to get. Innings eater, great command at the plate, and on the road he's been better. He's been great all season. I mean, you just gave some of the numbers, but 97 innings at home, 3.53 ERA, 95 innings on the road, a 3.02 ERA. He's only allowed 6 home runs on the road. He's allowed 12, in Philly. So I like this situation for in terms of splits on the road against this Cubs team, weather environment as well. And what you said really resonates with me is that this is a Phillies team that hasn't really been able to put it together since they acquired Harper and all these other pieces. They've been aggressive over the past couple of years, and they're in a playoff spot as of right now. So have their ace on the bump if this game is tight. Just keep them in that, keep them in the contest, and away we go. You getting fantasy football questions in here. Wow, we can get to that maybe later if we got some time, but go ahead, Dream.
Yeah, you're gonna probably have to handle that. I want to say Nola is actually inching his way towards the leaderboard in terms of the Cy Young odds. I want to say at the end of August, and then he just got absolutely torched by it was Arizona, where he gave up 8 runs in 4 innings, and that kind of put a stop to that. But yeah, he was getting a little bit of momentum there and a little hype. Not that he probably would have surpassed Sandy, but he definitely deserves to get some votes and be mentioned.
Yeah, Sandy's locked in, right? I thought about a month ago I was thinking that maybe Zach Gallen, could. I mean, he definitely closed the gap, right? Gallen's had a really, really good season, and lately he's been phenomenal. He's got a tough spot today against the Astros. I was actually looking at his strikeout prop. I think it's 5.5, but it's not plus money or anything. I just like don't like to take pitchers against the Astros. But minus 6,000 for Sandy. So he's locked in. Our guy Verlander, when we had that conversation, is pretty much locked in as well. So all right, no hope for anybody else. Sandy's had a really good season. He deserves it, in your opinion?
I mean, pretty much. I was also looking at Urias about a month ago. I want to say he was at like 30-1 or 35-1. His odds, I think, at one point dropped, maybe cut in half, but he's another guy that deserves to be at least mentioned. But I mean, Sandy's pretty much had this wrapped up for well over a month now, and that's pretty much the only thing the Marlins are playing for.
Guys on these lists, just like to look at, Verlander is favored. Cease, interesting, right? Cease wasn't really considered. McClanahan was. It was a conversation that, I think a lot of people had at FTN. Framber Valdez, right? I don't think anybody really saw that. Manoah, Shohei. I think maybe you could have made the case for both of those guys, maybe Shohei or Manoah heading in. I thought that Alec was the Blue Jays' best pitcher heading in with the most upside, although we've seen some really nice moments from other guys in that staff. But Zach Allen wasn't considered. Corbin Burns certainly was. Edwin Diaz, a reliever. I don't think anybody was really taking a look at him. Aaron Nola is on the board. And then Kyle Wright, right? Another guy that, Max Fried, of course, is on the board. But Kyle Wright is a guy that's had a really nice season that is if you took long shots on these guys, unfortunately didn't get them, maybe you got a decent cash out. But some interesting names there on both sides in both leagues that have made some noise this season.
I think Wright is the only 20-game winner, if I'm not mistaken, so far. And Gallen had his I don't know if it was a record, but his scoreless inning streaks, and then he went to Coors and gave up a few runs, and it was kind of sad because he had a .71 Sierra in that start, and I want to say a negative FIP, if I'm not mistaken. So it was kind of a rough spot to get your inning streak snapped.
Yeah, man, what a beast. I really like him overall as a pitcher. I feel like off the top of my head, it's like a good 75% of his games have been like, 3 or 2 runs or fewer. Like what he's done over the past, 2 months has been spectacular. But, after the trade, even before the trade and after the trade, going to Arizona from Miami, he was pretty consistent as a guy that just didn't really get lit up a whole lot and showed some strikeout upside there. Maybe we can get to that football question a little bit later on if you're hanging out. This is an MLB show, so we'll wrap up here with another pick or two. I didn't feel too great about myself when I came in with this next pick, but I'm going to ride with it anyways. We do have some talk about the Cards money line against Milwaukee today. St. Louis and Milwaukee, and over-under at 7. We've got Brandon Woodruff and Jose Quintana on the bump for the Cards, and I am going with Jose at over 5.5 strikeouts at plus 110. I know. What the heck am I doing picking a guy like this? Was a 7K per 9, but he's been really good lately. I had the battle in my head two voices in my fantasy baseball finals last week. I ended up losing. It didn't matter. I was like, do I start this guy against the Dodgers? I mean, he has the potential to get absolutely torched. He tossed 5 scoreless. He struck out 6. His outing before that, he had 8 scoreless. He struck out 6. That did come against a weaker team in Cincinnati. I mentioned the K per 9 is not great, but overall, he has been on a solid run here. He hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs since July 15th. That start came at Coors. It's 12 straight, 2 or fewer. 7 of those outings, 1 or 0 runs. He's cleaned up the walks. He's only issued 2 free passes in his last 5 outings. That's a span of 29 innings. And this is a decent spot against Milwaukee. They have the 3rd highest strikeout rate in baseball against lefties at 25.8%. Overall, they have a top 10 K rate. Top 10 K rate over the last 30 days, which is even higher, 23.8% overall, 25% over the last 30 days. So I'm riding plus money. I like that it's plus money. I originally thought Dream it would be 4.5 little juice, not too much where it'd be like minus 140 or anything, but I would feel better if it was 4.5 minus 115, but I'm comfortable taking this. I am betting it myself, not just giving it for the sake of giving it. So for plus money, I think it's okay. And just want to add a couple more things here is that I feel like, the under is in play here. The reason I'm a little hesitant daily with the Cards money line, they clinched last night, right? We could see a potential watered down lineup here with the squad. I like the under 7 and I like the under first 5 at 3.5. Just gave you the numbers on Quintana and how solid he has been. And the matchup is okay for him. But Woodruff as well. This guy has been absolutely lit here in the last 2 months of the season. He's got 32 strikeouts in the last three starts. In the first 3 months of the season, he had ERA of 5, March, April, May. Second half, 2.52 in 75 innings, 2.76 in this month, 2.7 in August, 2.1 in July. So he has been pretty good himself. And if he gets that watered down lineup today, we could be looking at under 3.5 first 5 at minus 110. I think that one is in play as well. But am I crazy with the Quintana play?
Nah, I don't.
You could be honest with me. You call me crazy. I wouldn't hold it against you.
Definitely wouldn't call you crazy. I mean, you mentioned since August 1st, they have the highest strikeout percentage versus lefties at over 28%. So I do expect some Ks today for Quintana. And yeah, I'm really waiting to see what kind of lineup the Cardinals put out there. We saw a couple books open them at the minus 120 range yesterday before the game. And now we're seeing them at the minus 150, minus 160 range. So I do lean under as well. I'd lean Brewers too. So I'm going to wait for a lineup there. And also I like, I think a lot of people probably noticed this as well in Toronto with Garrett Cole only being like minus 120, minus 125 versus Mitch White might raise a few eyebrows as well. That's another spot where the Yankees clinched last night. Guys probably did some partying, deservedly so. So that's another lineup I'm going to wait for. And I don't know if I'll end up adding the Yankees, but yeah, we're at that point in the season where you got to look at lineups, got to look at max innings and pitch limits and things like that. So just to make sure that you're not missing anything.
Oh man, and they're in Toronto, and that Canadian beer. Once you have a few of those, sometimes it can throw you off a little bit. So we could see some Yanks out of the lineup. I do believe Judge will play. He's starting to probably stress a little bit, right? I mean, everything is 62, 62, 62. I just spent some time in New York. I was at the game. Everyone is standing up when he's up at the bat. He's been swinging. I noticed yesterday he didn't really get a whole lot of pitches. I think if he can get 61, that 62nd will come. But man, he really is starting to run out of time here. Do you think he gets it done? Do you think he gets 62?
I don't think he does. And we're seeing a lot, Gossman had a quote a couple days ago. He's like, I don't want to end up in the record books because of this. I don't want to be the answer to some trivia question. So when you're facing teams that you've already faced about 15 to 16 times this season, and you're going to, balance schedule next year, so they won't be playing as much, but they're still division rivals. They don't really want to be the team that gives it up to Judge. So, over the weekend, we saw some guys pitching to him and kind of being aggressive and going after him. And then it seemed like a switch flipped, and everyone's like, well, I don't want to be the guy to give this up. And they're being super careful with him.
I was yelling at Nick Pivetta, you want to be in the history books for this reason. Don't worry about it. You probably won't get in there. Why not get in there for the giving up the 61 and the 62?
That's a good point. And people were giving Pivetta, crap for, I think it was a full count and he missed, in the other batter's box. It's like, dude, Nick Pivetta is trying to throw strikes. Trust me. He just has a hard time doing it at times. But we're definitely noticing the Blue Jays pitchers, we're like, listen, man, take your base. And honestly, I'm not that upset about it, especially with our buddy Zach Hampel, buying out entire sections to try to get a home run ball. I'll be happy if he doesn't get a home run ball, and I guess my little Orioles fandom's coming out as well. I kind of don't want Judge to break the AL record either.
Yeah, no, I agree, right? Setting it up to try to, cash in for I don't know, all the wrong reasons. Woodruff, so I'm just kind of walking through this. And if that lineup comes out and it is watered down, these odds are going to change pretty quickly. I'm seeing 6.5 on most books. BetMGM -150, DK -145. Bet Rivers has -139. So does Unibet and FanDuel at 6.5. Would you jump on board with this? Like, do you think he can strike out 7? Again, cards don't strike out a ton. They make a lot of contact. They're a tough team to go up against in terms of strikeout, opposing pitcher for strikeout props. But if we do get a lineup here with no Goldschmidt or Arenado in it, I think that, the fact that we've seen 32 strikeouts in the last 3 spots here for Woodruff, I feel like that one might be on my card. I don't know.
So in his first start against St. Louis, he finished with 2 strikeouts, and this was back in April. And then in May, he had 4. But honestly, if we don't have an Arenado and no Goldie, and if we do still have 5 or 6 lefties in the lineup, kind of like it's projected now, then that would be I still want to look into the umpire assignment, but that would be something I'd look into, because his strikeout percentage versus lefties is, I think, 35%, much higher than it is versus righties so far this season. So that is a spot, especially, if St. Louis puts out that watered down lineup, like you said, a bunch of guys probably hung over and just kind of going through the motions today. Yeah. It'd be a big day for Woodruff and the Brewers.
Yeah, it's something that I'll definitely keep an eye on. I would imagine if that is a watered down lineup, that would move to 7.5. But I think we could get at plus money, and I think just the way that he's pitched lately, I looked at the recent starts as well against St. Louis, and obviously it wasn't good. But overall, this is a team that makes a lot of contact. Well, let's keep an eye on that. Something that was cool that happened over the weekend as well, that you and I have kind of kept our eye on, was it Albert Pujols, and he reached the 700, did the 2 there. It's like I thought it was pretty cool, special moment, and something that never would have happened if he stuck in Anaheim. So it was nice to see him with that Cards jersey on to kind of get it done there. Do you have any thoughts as we wrap up here on the Padres money line? As we got Daily Handle saying, just swipe. He's got his Visa emoji ready to go. He's just ready to make some bets here today. So the Padres, Joe Musgrove on the bump at home, but against your guy Julio. So I don't know, plus 123. It's a little bit of a risky play there.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't look at that game. Musgrove's got off to such a great start. First 2 months of the year, he struggled the past couple of months, especially with the Dodgers having everything wrapped up. I know they need one more win to set a franchise record for wins, but they're not really playing for anything either. So that's another one where potentially wait for a lineup and go from there. But I didn't look into that this morning.
No, I didn't either. So yeah, it's a lot of waiting. Daily Handle knows this as a baseball fan. It's a lot of waiting just to see what some of these lineups, what they come out with. And I don't think the odds would change too much as long as you're on top of it. When the lineups come out, you can kind of get there pretty easily. On the way out, start 3: Khalil Herbert, Jamal Williams, Alexander Madison, Chase Edmonds, Allen Robinson. I would go with Herbert and Jamal Williams if you're still hanging out. That's the 2 running backs I think to roll with. If Cook doesn't play, you can go Madison. I don't think Montgomery's going to play. We know DeAndre Swift isn't going to play. So good luck with that decision. Yeah, there you go. I would go Herbert and Jamal. Good luck. Start and sit on a MLB Wednesday around the diamond. Picks and props. Check out MLBDream on Twitter, at Chris Meaney on Twitter. Not too late to sign up for our FTN betting package. We will be giving picks until that World Series is won. And as I mentioned, you get all the picks across all sports from everybody. Tools, projections, Discord channel, all that included in the package. Use the promo code FTN20. Save yourself 20% off. Dream, always a pleasure, dude. You will be back Friday, and I will not, but you will kill it, and I will watch. Have a good one, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers.